Om Tat Sat. Welcome to Gyan Bhakti. We are currently exploring the mystical scripture Mysticism of Srimad Bhagavatam. Commentaries by my worshipful Guruji Swami Jyotirmayananda ji Maharaj, narrated by myself Swami Nikhilanand. So let's get started on today's satsang. Today's episode is Balaram destroys Pralambasur. Balaram is Lord Krishna's elder brother. One day, Krishna, Balaram, and all the cowherd boys were in the forest tending to the cows. Since they stayed there from morning to evening while the cows grazed, the boys had a lot of time to play and amuse themselves with various games. Krishna suggested that they play a favorite game in which the boys divided themselves into two teams, with one line led by Krishna facing the other led by Balram. Halfway between the two lines an object would be placed. Then from both lines the boys would race to see which team would pick up the object first. The losing team would then become like little elephants and allow the winners to ride on their backs. In other words, give piggyback rides. While the boys were enjoying the game with such delight, a demon named Pralambasur, who was sent by Kansa to destroy Krishna, was watching with great interest. At one moment, Pralambasur observed that Balram was easily within his reach, and he decided to seize the opportunity to at least destroy Krishna's brother, Balram. So he slyly assumed the form of a cowherd boy and joined the game, carrying Balram on his back. Then, without warning, Balram resumed his demoniac form and flew up into the sky with Balram hanging on in great surprise. When Balram realized what was going on, what this demon was up to, he quickly regained his awareness of his innate divine nature, because essentially he is Sheshnag, Sankarshan, the companion of Lord Vishnu himself. He had just taken this form with Lord Krishna. Then, free of all fear, he punched Pralambasur to death with his fists and descended back to the earth with the corpse of the demon. Krishna and all the cowherd boys had been watching this from the distance along with gods in the heavens, and they all rejoiced over Balrama's victory over that terrible demon. Mystical meaning: Pralambasur mystically symbolizes a subtle, tamasic, dull movement of the mind that leads an aspirant into sleep or dullness during the practice of meditation. So many of us think we are meditating, but we may be snoozing, sleeping. So that dullness is easy to come, but that has to be constantly monitored. Therefore, meditation is a state where we are deeply blissful, but we are also aware of it. Whereas in your deep sleep, you are not aware of your state. You are just sleeping and you find peace when you are peaceful, but you find it when you wake up. You say, I slept very well. But in meditation, you are also observing that peace along with your experience. So that state of dullness is called laya, is one of the major obstacles to experiencing deep meditation and samadhi, is super consciousness state. So unless dhyana becomes samadhi, we are not really making rapid progress. Rapid progress is when we are into the state of samadhi, in which time and space transcend. Further, like Pralambasura masquerading as a cowherd boy, that subtle movement of tamas can be misinterpreted as sattva or purity of the mind. So he pretends to be like just the other cowherds and playing in a very nice Vrindavana environment. So tamas is really changing his form to look like sattva, but it is not. So we have to have that subtle introspection to know where we are progressing and where we are digressing. So some people sit in meditation for half an hour or more, unaware of anything, and proudly assert, I surely have been in samadhi. However, in actuality, Pralambasur was there. You were not in samadhi, you were sleeping or exceedingly dull, and that happens to many of us. So we have to be aware. The purpose of these scriptures is to guide us what to look for, what to be careful about, etc. As spiritual movement continues, that Pralambasur is noticed by our alert mind, and with divine agility, our mind fights against that tamasic aspect and destroys it. So we do have to be aware of all these negative traits, and they sometimes come in very pleasing forms, and we have to be cautious. And that is the satsang for today. This is Swami Nikhilanand. Om Tat Sat.